Louisiana beer reviews. Here we are at 7:50 a.m. looking at Deviant Dale's India Pale Ale from Oskar Blues. This will be the last one of their lineup to try because I've had all the rest. The Mama's Little Yellow Pills, the Dale's Pale Ale, the 1050, which I regretfully deleted on accident. And I got a bad feeling that when I go back to Martin Wine Cellar to get some more, it's not going to be there. I'm just paranoid about it. And then I did the Gubna and the Goodnight and the Pinner. The only one I didn't care for too much was the Pinner. I gave it an okay score, but people say, but it had a lot of flavor. It did have some flavor. To me, it wasn't necessarily a good flavor, and it had no kind of body. And then someone said, how could you compare it to Miller High Life? I wasn't really comparing it to Miller High Life. I was saying, I realize they're different styles. I was saying it was inferior to it. I found Miller High Life was more enjoyable to drink, had a better flavor, a better body. Oh, look at this, running over. My cup runneth over. And it was a much better value. That's all I was saying. All right, this beer here is kind of cloudy. Well, the sun's shining through it. It's kind of a brilliant orange, but it's a rust orange from that direction. But with the sun coming through it, it's like a brilliant orangey orange. Some stray bubbles. I know this is going to be sticky on the sides. These IPAs are always sticky like that. An off-white head, pretty thick. Hey, it looks like a strong India Pale Ale, I have to say. 8% alcohol, 85 IBUs, Columbus dry hopping. I don't know about all the malts and the hops. They don't really say on the website. It's not too informative. It gets an outstanding score on the on Beer Advocate. The bros say it's very good, so they're just saying B+. Now the bros, I like to read their stuff because they don't really feed into the hype, either positive or negative. Like some beers, people will hype it up like to this extreme level, and then they'll say, well, it's good, but, or people will downgrade a beer, talk about how horrible it is, but then they'll review it like, say, Schlitz, and they'll say, it's not bad. It's one of the better mass-produced adjunct lagers. Rate Beer is saying 99 out of 100 and 99 out of 100 for the style. And I find that on Rate Beer, they really kind of go along with the hypes. You know what I mean? The hypes. The high and the low. And it kind of hurts their credibility in a way to me. But, of course, I still read what people are saying. I don't have to agree with it always, but I do read it. Wow, this is dank. Like, it's I'm trying to think of that aroma. I smelled it in a beer years ago. It's like an apricot thing. To me, this is interesting because the hop resins here, and Brad, who does beer reviews sometimes, and I like his reviews, he was saying you shouldn't use hop resin as a description, and I think he's right. This is like an apricot. And it's slightly turned, fruit, and I know this is a little old. It says canned on April 10th. And we are over 2 months later. I can never recall which beer it was. This is reminding me of. It was definitely an India Pale Ale, but it has a really good aroma. It's fruity. It's so fruit forward, and that's from the hops, of course. Don't know if this is positioned so well. This playback feature on my camera is screwed up, so you gotta see a little jerk there. Yeah, the taste follows the aroma. It's like fruitiness from the hop resin, a slight pine. I was going to say even almost a woodiness, but I don't think that's correct. Well, you definitely get barley, sweetness, white bread, which is, I notice, a feature of India Pale Ales that, or at least American ones, that white bread. You know, when I think about American IPAs, and then you have East Coast and West Coast, and then you think about English India Pale Ales, it's almost like two different styles. It really is two separate type of ales. They're not very comparable. To me, on this one, the bitterness is more pronounced. The Pinner, no, that just didn't work. The Goodnight had some good bitterness, but it wasn't too profound. I think it was only 60. The 1050 had some bitterness, but it was really coming from that char. Although I didn't think it was burnt. Maria Devon said it was burnt, but I didn't think it was burnt. She really loved it. There is some of that turned fruit in it. Yeah, you know, maybe it's reminding me of the hardcore IPA from Scotland. Brewdog Hardcore IPA kind of reminds me of that because they had that turned fruit aspect. At first I didn't like it, but as I drank down on those, it really kind of started to appeal to me. And those bottles were really old. It still had the bitterness. I know hops are supposed to fade, but man, that thing was like going on 5 years old, and it was still pretty bitter. But bitterness is not everything. The body's pretty heavy here, kind of a medium to heavy, going on straight up heavy. Mouthfeel. The finish is on the dry side. Puckering. I think this is the kind of beer that's going to grow in bitterness as I drink on it, because these things tend to, like, I can even already taste it on my tongue, like the bitterness tends to set in. So this is something that you really would think would be a bitter beer. So if you're not used to India Pale Ales and these extreme ones, I think this would really turn you off. I like that type of thing. My complaint about the IPAs lately, you know, you've heard me say that, I just don't like that pineapple, canned pineapple thing. This one doesn't have that. It just has more of a authentic hoppy bitterness. It's not reminding me of canned Dole or canned store brand pineapple. It's not really grapefruit. It's just like correct. It's correct. I would give it an A+. I mean, all the way. Same thing with the 1050. I said A+. I'm going all the way. I'm going all out. I said the Dale's Pale Ale was more like an IPA than a Pale Ale. And this is definitely a double Imperial IPA, and it's one of the better ones that I've had. One of the best ones I've had. 8%. Yeah, this is dynamite. Let's sling a little mud, girl. I agree with that. Sipping on a tall boy. Yeah, well. Okay, so I'm sipping from a tall boy, more like. But, so, Les Le Bon Temps Roulé, a really fantastic dynamite beer. I can't wait. I guess I'll have to wait to watch the video reviews and read the written reviews. And y'all come on down to New Orleans.